Ladies all around the world, listen up. We're looking for you. The time has come to be unstoppable together. The danger of executive women is worrying we're not enough, obsessed with perfection, failing to perform. You're in the right place. It's now time to be unstoppable together with Connie Fife. She was the director of the United States Chamber of Commerce and CEO of the Girl Scouts. Sit down, squat down, or lie down. It's time for Up or Out, all business with Connie Fife, your unstoppable diva and chair of the Fife Group, helping women in leadership achieve excellence and be unstoppable together.
Well, hi there. It's Connie Fife, your unstoppable diva. And I first want to introduce a co-host of mine because joining me today in the studio is Jeff Fife. Now, he is my husband. I've invited him here because he's also been an executive for, 30 years now? Of aerospace industry. And he just knows so much around leadership and the up or out, because again, we all know in corporate, you're either going up or out. So he works a lot with his people around that. So Jeff, welcome, sweetie, to the show.
Well, thank you there, Connie. And, this is really the only way that I get to spend a little bit of time with you guys. So this will be great.
All right. Let's get on to our guest. So our guest today is John Spencer Ellis. Now, he himself, he's lived a life that's filled with unique experiences. He shares the stage with many luminaries. He travels the world. And I know that because I don't know how many times we tried to get him on the show, but here he is, and I'm so excited that he's here. So John has a very unique business success story. Now, he started in a 380 square foot studio apartment, unlike the penthouse that he lives in today. There he slept on the floor. He only had $2,000 in his pocket. He began as a personal training business, and that has grown into a multi-million-dollar group of corporations that are providing a variety of educational, consulting, and entrepreneurial products and services. He's helped create over 500,000 jobs, which is something I definitely want to talk to you about, John. Now, you are a fitness and personal development experience, and each week, over 1 million people enjoy his fitness programs, his coaching and personal development programs that he's developed. His systems are used in top resorts, spas, and fitness centers, National Exercise and Sports Trainers Association, the Personal Trainer Hall of Fame, Fitness Hall of Fame, the Spencer Institute for Life Coaching, International Triathlon Coaching Association, and Mixed Martial Arts and Conditioning. And I've seen some of that on your Facebook too. John has also created an adventure boot camp. He's also co-created Intense Mixed Performance Accelerated Cross Training. Try to say that 10 times fast. Kung Fu Fitness, Tactics, and co-developed Survival Combat Fitness. Cirque du Soleil, Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines, the U.S. Secret Service, FBI, and Coast Guard all use John's programs, and he's consulted with many of the Ultimate Fighting Championships. Now, I can go on and on and on introducing this guy. He's a speaker, he's a presenter, he's an author. He has done it all. So, John, why don't we just jump right into everything that you do and let our audience get to know you personally. So I want to welcome you to Up or Out.
Thank you so much. That was a long introduction, and it makes it sound like. Well, the good news is that I was able to do a lot of fun, and I still can continue to do a lot of fun, interesting things. But that didn't happen over a day, a week, a month, or even a decade. That is a body of work over a lifetime. And the background is a lot in health and fitness. But in the last decade or so, it has morphed into helping all different types of business professionals and entrepreneurs. It's just that I started helping people in the fitness industry because that was the industry that I came from. But now I help people that do soil sampling and bioengineering and video production and wedding planning and everything in between.
And that all stems from well, let's just say your endurance as an athlete, but it stems from developing and creating that business and really having that mindset, whether you're in corporate or whether you're a serial entrepreneur, but still having that mindset as an entrepreneur. And that really, what I've seen, that really gets people to shift their mind, the way of thinking and getting things done.
Mindset is everything. People argue about this all the time in sports, as an example. Well, it's 80% mental, it's 90%, it's 99% mental. Technically, it's all mental. Technically, because if your brain won't take you there, it doesn't matter what you want your physical body to do, whether it is to do research, to read a book, to do a push-up, or to build a building. It is always in your mind. Yeah. So when people say it's 80, 20, 50, whatever, technically it's 100%, because if your brain isn't there, and we've seen this with people with traumatic brain injuries and all sorts of things like that, they could have been tremendous preceding that point. And then after that, everything gets squelched. But if you know, when people get the clarity, the focus, the determination, they surround themselves with big thinkers to expand their way of thinking, their whole world changes in an instant. And so technically, it's all mental.
Right. And again, it's for athletes, it's for corporate executives, it's for entrepreneurs. Anyone that's out there and want to make an impact, want to be successful in whatever area that they're in, it's all about getting that clarity.
Absolutely. Well, clarity is important, and people, it's motivation. What's most interesting to me is people always want to know, what's my morning rituals? What do I do in the morning? And then sometimes they're disappointed because for the first 20 minutes, I'm on the couch with my 2 French bulldogs, adjusting my Facebook ads, my ad spend, and watching something funny. By the way, I don't watch the news anymore, regardless of your slant. It's generally not uplifting. I prefer to watch I Love Lucy and laugh for 30 minutes in the morning, no joke, and then pet my dogs, drink some coffee, and then go.
Yeah.
And to me, that's far more interesting. And so since I stopped watching the news and stopped participating in all the banter, regardless of what you think or want or believe, it tends to be negative. And I just don't want to participate in that. And there's no way you can start your day feeling outstanding when you're filled with generally negative things at the onset of your day. Think about this. When you wake up in the morning, and if you have, and this is going back, you guys, but hopefully there's some people, at least my age, watching this. But you remember the old radio alarm clock? That first song that came on in the morning, that's the song that stuck in your head all day,
the
right?
Entire day, yeah.
All day, you think, how did that happen? Well, and then by contrast, if you have one of those things, just go, right? You'd never.
Could you imagine that going off all day in your head?
It's horrible. So you don't want to start your day with that noise, but think about that. So you're fairly clean slate in the morning. Not completely, you get dreams and you have different things going on, but generally you're a clean slate. So that first impression is what sticks with you the first part of the day. So that's why you sing that song all day. The same thing would be so if you watch the news in the morning and you get a bunch of negativity, it's not good. Yeah. So that's why I watch I Love Lucy. It's funny, it's humorous, it's super lighthearted, and she was a legend, obviously.
Just a legend. Well, we've talked about that too.
Yeah.
Especially with the news. And we both hit the gym in the morning.
And that's good too. And so
and you get that music going, and you get you get the blood pumping, and then you're set to go for the day.
Well, and so that's the morning ritual. But I'm going back to what I was saying. I got a little sidetracked there. So and that happens. What happens is people always ask me, what are my morning rituals for success? And it is positivity. Sometimes it's journaling. Sometimes it's meditation. I'll take my dogs for a walk and listen to a business podcast so I can learn something new and then apply it that day. So I do things like that as well. However, what I wish people would ask even more, and is even more important, is what am I thinking in the morning? Not necessarily what I'm doing. What are my beliefs? Everyone's values are different. So values is a little bit different, but what are my beliefs? What do I believe is possible? What do I want to experience? How will I add value to the world? How am I going to be a better version of myself today than I was the day before? Things like that. Yeah. Because then that creates the behavior, but you have to start with what you're thinking. So you have to move back one. Right.
That is really interesting. Now, I know one thing that that you do, that Jeff does at work every morning. They just have a quick stand-up meeting with their team. And that's a really great way to get people to start thinking differently throughout the day. So does that help them?
Well, absolutely. Communication is so critical in everything that we do. But getting back to what John has been talking about, positivity, and driving change and driving positive change specifically, because every leader's role is to introduce change as quickly as possible, whether it be in an organization or whether you're a serial entrepreneur. Driving change, value added, very definitely makes a lot of sense. So my morning ritual as an organizational leader, having that communication with the team definitely sets the goals, the priorities in the morning for the team to ensure that we're getting things done or executing. So it's really creating that culture of execution among a group of people, as opposed to, you as the leader or you as the, driving throughout your day.
Mm-hmm. So then, John, you also talk about leveraging everything. So how does that then fit in with that mindset? And again, leveraging everything that's happening in your life. Like you said, you're thinking about or rewinding in some sense about this happened yesterday. So now I heard this today and I Love Lucy, or, that's we're going for the day. So then how is that leveraging everything that you do then throughout the day?
Well, leveraging not just what you did throughout the day, but what you've done up until that point in your life. So as an example, build upon the foundation of the day, the week, the month, the year, the decade prior. Mm-hmm. How can I build upon that foundation? Now, sometimes you just want to reinvent, and I understand when people want to do that. You're thinking, you know what? This stuff isn't working. I'm not happy. I'm not fulfilled. Totally burnt out. I need to reinvent. There are times when that's okay. Yeah. There are also times when you have an incredible foundation, but it could be simply the environment that needs to change, which allows you to shine with the skills you've already created. And I think you're a good example of that. You've had a lot of great runs and doing different things. And now you've taken all those experiences, communications, relationships, and built it into something that's truly unique and totally your own. And so I think that is critical. So building upon the foundation. So if you're an entrepreneur or if you're moving up the corporate ladder, what I'm always thinking of is we solved a problem for a group of people with a program, product, service of some type, technology perhaps.
Right.
Once you do that, then the next question is, how can I serve more people with that same thing? So we're scaling. Then building upon the foundation and learning. So we created widget A, and that solved problem A. But now there's problem B for the same group. So how do I create widget B to solve problem B? So now we're scaling, but we're also replicating, and we're listening to our community and growing based on the foundation that has already existed.
Right.
And that's how you grow, and that's how you scale, and that's how you become a better version of yourself and build upon the foundation.
Right, because a lot of what I see, especially when working with folks in corporate, they're like, I want to get out, and they're trying to create something new. And we always have that, well, let's take a look at what you already know, and how could you replicate that? And how could you leverage on what it is that you already know to create something that's going to help your community? Well,
and that's a great example. And I would say that for those people that do that, then that seems to be an environmental issue. So maybe the environment they're in isn't conducive or doesn't allow for enough upward mobility. It's possible, but they're really talented and really passionate about the work that they're doing. That would be someone who would do very well in coaching, advising, consulting, maybe even distribution if it applies. Right. But they love that arena.
Yes, I love that. I was just going to point out right behind you, I see the Ferris wheel.
Let me see if I can. That is the high roller. Can you see that there?
Oh, that's the high roller. Okay.
Yeah, so that is a Ferris wheel.
Okay.
But right there, so that's the. I know Kelly will kill me if I don't get this right. My wife's a designer. I think it's called the cupola is the crown on top of the Bellagio there. I think it's called the cupola, but correct me if I'm wrong, somebody. And then right behind that is the high roller, which is the world's largest Ferris wheel. And you can put 30 people in each of those pods. And they have a bartender in each of those wheels. That's that big.
Oh, really?
It's that big. And they do weddings in each of those. It's insane. And it's Las Vegas,
That is insane. Yeah, so here you are living in this penthouse in Vegas, which I've been at, which is awesome. And your wife, Kelly, just beautifully decorated it. And I know you had a lot to do with that too.
Well, I had a little bit to do with it, but she's world class. So I contributed bits and pieces, but that's about it.
Okay. Well, I got a couple sentences I want you to finish.
Okay.
So we're going to start with, I am a leader because.
People want to be led and I want to help.
And my favorite success quote is?
If our brain was so simple we could understand it, then we would be so simple we couldn't.
And my process for evaluating opportunities?
Find commonality where other people do not.
Love it. So now we have our hot seat. Do you want to take our hot seats here?
I sure can. Hey, John, that was absolutely great on how you evaluate opportunities with finding commonality. Could you dig a little deeper on that?
Yeah, absolutely. So there's so many different examples. It's kind of like when you see a lot of different people, different ethnicities, different genders, sexual orientation, it doesn't matter. There's some things about us that are all the same, some aspect of it. So I try to find that. I try to find the commonality in different martial arts that I do. What are the fundamentals that hold true in no matter what type of martial art that you do? In business, in marketing, there are some fundamentals that matter almost always or always, such as adding more value or the perception of value, hopefully real value as well, to your customer will always put you in the forefront, no matter what arena that you're in. Building quality relationships, no matter what you're doing, is essential to personal and professional and financial growth. So, but it doesn't matter what arena you're in. So what I do is I look across a broad spectrum. And the more I travel and the more I work with unique people in all different industries, I say, oh, there's a commonality. Commonality. Then I put it into my pot on the stove and I boil it down. What are the key constituents that are applicable in every single business, every single arena, every single person, every single discipline, whatever it is. And those are the core fundamental values that seem to work most often, most of the time for most people in most businesses. So those become, by default, undeniable facts of success. And there's always exceptions, but fundamentally you can figure out that's true. So my goal is always to find out what are the common truths, even if in direct opposition, things that are in direct opposition of each other. What is a common core truth to what they're both saying? And can you condense that into a single thought or philosophy? And if you can, it's probably useful. And by the way, let me say this, because I learned this from my buddy Jesse Elder. And this is so important and so simple. Rather than labeling something good or bad, whether it's a person or it's, you want iPhone or a different thing, is it good or bad? Because that's subjective and it's personal and it may not be correct, but what you can say is this useful to me? Is this useful? It's really that simple. So if you can say, is this useful rather than is it good or bad? Because it might be useful for me, but not for you, or vice versa, or for both, or for neither, but is it useful? And it really takes away a lot of negativity as well. And that's it. That's it. If you can do that in life, that's good, this bad, this is F this and blah, blah, blah. That's terrible. But is this useful? Maybe not now, but it might be useful next week.
Yeah.
But you're still being open-minded and thinking also of its utilitarian value rather than just being arbitrarily good or bad. Right.
Do you have any other questions for John?
Well, thank you for that insight, John. Yes, I do. In terms of, I love your life philosophy and how you, always boil it down to the simpleness or the insight. But going back to your start, what was the spark or the event in your life that really has led you to where you're at today? Was there something?
I don't know if it was any one thing. And believe me, there's been bumps along the way, and I've been a knucklehead in my mid-20s and all that kind of stuff. So I'm not saying that I was immune from all that, believe me. But hopefully now I'm doing a much more refined work. Otherwise, my wife wouldn't be with me, let's be honest. So there's a few key things. One, honestly, is watching the Tony Robbins infomercials when I was growing up. Fran Tarkington, if you guys remember those, the old ones. Yeah. I think we get it on cassette tape back in the day. Yeah. And so it was watching.
I still have those cassettes.
Oh, I still have them. I'm keeping them. I absolutely have his cassettes. Ridiculous. And so doing that, and then watching Olympic powerlifting with my dad on TV, when we watch the Summer Olympics and the two events are called the snatch and the clean and jerk. And those are the two Olympic lifting movements. And he would show me, because they'd go backstage and show not just the physicality and how they could do it, but it taught me about the mindset, because they kind of went backstage when the people were prepping with the camera, and they'd see the coach kind of slapping the guy in the face and getting him, they hit a smelling salts, like, woo, let's get going. And his coach is talking to him, and then he'd go out, and they kept progressively going, these incremental changes until they got to gold. And I said, what are they doing? He goes, well, son, that's the psych up phase. And that's, you got to get your mind right so your body will follow. And so then I learned, and then I started studying sports psychology, and that led into all the other personal development training plus Tony's stuff. Yeah. And then Bruce Lee was an enormous influence on me, huge. But a lot of people just know him as a movie star or martial arts guy, but he was a philosopher too. His philosophy is incredible. So it was literally between the three of those things is the three things that changed the trajectory of my life.
Well, what's next for you? Where are you going from here? I know you have your Penthouse group, and so what else? I know you always have something going on. So what's next?
I do. The Penthouse group is basically my 16-week coaching, mentoring, and in-person mastermind group. It's in session right now. Probably do another one later this year. And I work with a bunch of high achievers in different industries, helping them get their mindset right, focus on their business, and hopefully 10x their career. We've had some people that have 10x their income in 2 years, which is insane.
Maybe we should go into John's group.
It's a lot of fun. I really, really enjoy that. And then, I support Kelly with her business and her design work and her TV career and her furniture and her art and all that kind of stuff. So I'm supportive of her, but, give enough room for that to grow. Right. As we've said, the space in between the notes is what makes the music. Yes. And so we need space to breathe and each have your own vibration to get metaphysical for a second without getting too woo woo.
I think we got it, especially those married couples that are working together. Yeah, I think we got that. Yeah.
So I have fun. I have a blast. I'm really growing my education companies, and I'll be collaborating with some different people. Hopefully, this year doing some really, really big projects that will, be global. But I just want to make a big impact and help a lot of people. My goal this year is to create 50 millionaires.
Nice. Mm-hmm. Well, we're just about out of time, but I want to make sure our listeners know how to find you and find out more about what it is that you're doing. So website?
Facebook, John Spencer Ellis, Instagram, John Spencer Ellis, and then it's John Spencer Ellis, just like it sounds, johnspencerellis.com. And you can go there, and I actually have some great free video training on entrepreneurship and mindset and personal development. It's all free, workbook, notebook, hours of video training, 100% free. It's really good information.
John Spencer Ellis. It's not as hard as somebody trying to find Fife.
or Engelbert Humperdinck or something like that.
Yeah, right. Well, you've been great. You've been great being here, John. I mean, we can continue this conversation. I just love chatting with you and having conversations.
I'll come back.
Okay, we definitely will. We'll definitely be glad to have you back. We'll come out to Vegas. We'll do a live show. That's what we'll have to do. We'll come out and do that. But again, thank you for being here, and just love all of the work that you're doing and sharing with people. So again, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, guys.
Message, John. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Ladies all around the world, listen up. We're looking for you. The time has come to be unstoppable together. The danger of executive women is worrying we're not enough, obsessed with perfection, failing to perform. You're in the right place. It's now time to be unstoppable together with Connie Fife. She was the director of the United States Chamber of Commerce and CEO of the Girl Scouts. Sit down, squat down, or lie down. It's time for Up or Out, all business with Connie Fife, your unstoppable diva and chair of the Fife Group, helping women in leadership achieve excellence and be unstoppable together.